I wish that we were coming to you with a little bit of a happier story this morning, but I think by now most people have heard about the largest shooting, mass shooting in American history that has happened last night at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. These are at least 50 of our brothers and sisters who have been shot and killed during what probably was a night out, some fun, some dancing, and now they are dead because of who they choose to love. We felt that we needed to come live to you this morning so that we could discuss this with everybody, so that we could give people a place to air their feelings, so that we can mourn as a community and come together and rise up, because we will overcome this just like we've overcome everything else that society has done to us over the years and that individuals try to kill our spirit. It will not happen. And, I just wanted to reach out to everybody, give everybody a chance to talk. I know that we're all feeling this. I know that we've been talking to each other this morning in tears. One of the stories that affected me the most was, that's near and dear to me, is that a mother who worked there, who's mother of 4 children. They don't know if she got out yet. And, that really touched home for me as a parent, because I could have chose to go out last night, as probably once in a blue moon that you get to go out when you have kids, and my daughter could be waking up this morning without a mother because I wanted to go dancing, because I wanted to go for a beer. Stephanie, I know that you're reeling this morning. What are some of your thoughts and feelings about what's going on right now today in Orlando, Florida?
Right now, I'm actually just writing on our Qualk show page. I popped over there really quickly to put the exact feed that we're in case anybody wants to come in and have a chat with us. It's not very often that we are able to just bring in people randomly up from our fan base and our other groups. So I'm making sure that I'm putting up there, because I feel like, for me, when I heard about it, I got emotional with Carol on the phone. Then I had to collect myself, because I have been out for 20 years, and it's exhausting that this is a thing. And I have to say this, though, in relation to the other incidents that have happened across America. I can't really speak for the rest of the world, although we hear about it through a polarized lens. In America, it's disgraceful. It's disgusting, and it's inhumane that people would feel the need to walk up to someone else, look them dead in their face, and think, I'm going to kill you, and just take their life without thinking about the chain of people that affects. It's not just that one person. On average, one person is connected to 100 people. That means 100 people they got at one time, not just in embodiment, but also from an emotional perspective.
That they've got at one time, because
not including all the people that are injured.
Right.
So it's 100,000 people.
We're talking a massive group of people that are affected. The problem I'm having in my heart, and I had since the Colorado shooting, where some fucking asshole walked right into a theater, which I love to do, and just shut up the theater for no goddamn reason, is there's no gun regulations in our country. You can do that. You can walk right in and do it. It's against the law to shoot someone else, but you can have those guns there. That's a disgrace. There's been very little movement in protecting other people and other citizens from idiots like that, that just feel the need to go in and shoot up other people. And whatever was motivated by this particular event, that person to person still had to look each other in the eye before he took his other life. And that's the part that gets me. At what point, as a country, as parents, as people, is this going to change? Because otherwise, no group unturned, right? Everybody's going to, in some way, not just as a nation, be affected, but individual groups are going to continue to be targeted. Individual groups are going to continue to be ostracized and made to feel different because of the way in which we communicate and the way in which we live our lives from an unaccountable perspective. And I'm speaking from this country. I think other people from other parts of the world can speak on it. But as a parent, that's what made me so emotional on the phone with Carol. I've been out for 20 years, but I haven't been as out as I am before, as I have been by doing the show, because we started to do this for our children so that we can create a platform of conversation that can fuse the LGBTQ plus queer community with mainstream media, so that for our small demographic that has been ridiculed and beat up and torched and tormented for our entire lives can finally break free of that. And we tend to, as a community, do it in a ultimately non-violent way. We don't handle our business by picketing. We don't handle our business well, we do. That's not true. But we don't handle our business by going and attacking other groups. We do it from an educated perspective. And so
well, and here's the thing, too, that you and I touched on this earlier this morning, is that there's a whole group of queer people growing up that have no idea, no comprehension about what it is that brought us to the place that we are at today, where you can, for the most part, feel safe holding your partner's hand or going to a frickin' gay club. But this is a reminder to everyone of how far we have left to go. Okay, to the younger generation that was out partying at that club last night, now you might get it. Now you might understand why we do the things that we do. It takes things like this. This is why we have gay pride. To all of our allies who might say to us, you guys have had so many wins, why do you still need this? Why do you still need this special day? Because this, make no mistake, was a targeted attack on people that choose to love who they choose to love, on the queer community as a whole, on our brothers and sisters who are living their life, raising their children, and just happen to love somebody of the same sex or be transgendered. And at least 50 of them are dead because of that. So this is a call as well to the younger generation to rise up and partner with your older, more seasoned gay people that have been through this, fighting through this. This is a reminder that as far as we've come, we still have so far to go.
Holly, what do you have to say?
I mean, Carol woke me up to this, so thank you for waking me up and bringing me on board.
Because you're in a different time zone, right?
I'm in Carol's time zone, but I don't have an infant, so I get to sleep some. So I'm on the West Coast. I'm in Oregon. Oregon generally is a very happy state. I mean, all we want to do is smoke pot and have a good time. That's generally Oregon. We have had some school shootings. We actually had one of the first. We had Columbine. So I mean, these things have happened, and Oregon is also a very gun-friendly state. Almost all of my friends own guns, and the majority of them have their concealed to carry. Now, the people that I know, I trust and I feel safe with that. But all you have to do is take a class to get your concealed to carry. And anybody can just go buy a gun and walk somewhere with it open in Oregon. I remember a few years ago when I went to Pride, my partner at the time, who had their concealed to carry, wanted to bring their gun to Pride, like concealed under their pants. And it really pissed me off because I felt that Pride is our safe place. Pride is our place, our festival, our weekend of not being violent, of not going with agitated minds, not going with this preconceived notion of somebody's going to come and do something. Like, we're going to go and we're going to have fun at Pride, and we're not going to think about all those kinds of things. We're not going to bring a gun because it's not necessary. And she was very adamant about all the protesters that usually show up. Now, in Oregon, we don't have that many, but usually there's, 5 or 6 standing outside of the festival that are, God hates you, you're going to die, whatever.
But your ex-girlfriend just went live for a bar 2 weeks ago. Janessa is a friend of the show, and
she did.
That was some crazy stuff right there.
Yeah, no, she totally did. The cops did show up. He was actually, the guy who was picketing that was a DJ, a fairly famous DJ here in Oregon. And he was spouting off about gay lifestyle and being a fag and being a dyke and you're going to go to hell. I mean, there's the people out there, and they're terrible, and I'm kind of sitting here reeling, like, our Pride Festival is next weekend. I work for a very large company that does a huge production in the Pride Parade, and I am a little nervous right now, thinking about, I mean, my child's not going. She never goes because it's Father's Day weekend anyways. But I have to go, and I want to go, and I want to be there in solidarity and support, and I don't want to hide because of things that people have done, but at the same time, the mom in me and the scared person in me just wants to stay home and not leave and stay in my safe place.
Yeah. And nobody, this just reinforces that we're not safe. I mean, any public gathering, person can come and shoot it up. And you don't even have to get that close to do a lot of damage with a gun. You can do it from the sidelines, you can do it whatever. And so when people say, you know, why do you still need gay pride and things of this nature? We still risk our lives to have gay pride. 9 times out of 10, nothing's going to happen. It's going to be peaceful, and there's just going to be some religious zealots on the side and, you know, things of that nature. But we literally take the chance that some idiot is going to do what this guy just did in Orlando, Florida. You know, I told this story earlier today that about 20 years ago when I came out, I got egged outside of the gay club that I was at. No big deal, eggs, it washes off, whatever, no harm, no foul. But as I walked in the club, I remember thinking to myself, as I noticed that I had an egg that had landed right on the back of my neck, I remember thinking back then, what if that was a bullet? Yeah, it was an egg this time, but what if it was a bullet? And that, unfortunately, is the reality for everyone that was at Pulse nightclub last night. I know that a young man was texting his mom saying, I'm going to die tonight. I'm going to die right now.
Ugh.
I know that a mother of 4 children has still been unaccounted for, and her children today don't know where their mom is because she worked at a gay bar.
So
I know
she
that.
wasn't even gay herself. Or, I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously an ally, and this affects everybody. It's not just gay people, because allies go to clubs too. Lots of my
Absolutely.
straight friends come to the gay club with me. Straight people work at the gay club because there's a lot of people that are pretty open-minded and don't give a fuck. They just want to make tips and live their life and go home to their families.
And straight people, I don't know about where you are, but straight people here, if you want to go dancing, you go to our gay club, because you're going to go, you're going to have a good time. You're not going to have to worry about, you know, girls don't have to worry about some guy creeping up on them and being inappropriate. Now, there may be a few lesbians, but they think it's funny and they have a good time with it. But our gay club is not that gay. It's just a whole
Yeah.
bunch of people having a good
Right.
time.
Right? And here's the other thing, is that it was also Latin night at this club. And I think Stephanie can speak a little bit more to what the Latin community goes through in the United States. It's being a smaller community, it being a harder community to come out in. So not only was the gay community targeted, and maybe it just happened to be the night, maybe the shooter didn't know it was Latin night, but not only has the gay community been affected, but the Latin gay community, which is already a struggling part of our community due to religious beliefs and family beliefs and things of that nature. Stephanie, I know that you're not Latin yourself, but that you have a large connection to this community, and this you know, can speak a little bit more to why this is an even bigger deal than it already is, because it was Latin night at the club.
Well, I can only tell you from other people's stories. You know, one of my closest friends is Latin, and you know, for me, ethnic diversity is huge in the Philadelphia region. It's not uncommon for you to have friends from different ethnic backgrounds or different diversities. And within the LGBT community, we are very lucky to have such a supportive city in relation to being on the queer spectrum. But what I can say is that most of the news reports or any sort of microscopic conversations around the gay community tend to be surrounded by religion. And while that's interesting for people reading about it, or within it that feel super passionate about it, there are people that definitely struggle every day from the religious aspect. And so, from my experience with my friends who have become family, when you're dealing with the religious aspect and also within the ethnic diversities, my Black and Hispanic friends struggle more, because oftentimes their families are incredibly non-accepting beyond the scope of what white people can understand. And so while it seems very, I don't know, I'm trying not to get emotional for them, it
Yeah.
seems
It's a tough morning.
It seems disgusting to me to target a minority within a minority, and with the type of event they were having, the amount of people that were affected within those four walls is devastating to the Latin community within the LGBT complex, because a lot of those people, I only can speak from my region perspective, aren't out, and they struggle with that still, and a lot of white privilege is surrounded around LGBTQ family marketing. Tends to be 2.2, kids with two white moms or two white dads, and so it's just now coming in the forefront. But I don't think that generally people understand the racial aspects surrounded around it. It affects our community tenfold. And while we struggle with helping our trans brothers and sisters, hold them up, we often forget about the diversities within the community and forget to hold up the racial disparities and what they're going through. And so it hit me. I went, wow, that's almost 100 people within the Latin community and or supportive of the Latin community that would ultimately be affected at once. It's not, the LGBTQ community is diverse, but on that last night particularly, it was segregated. And so, I don't know. Was it targeted for that reason? I don't know.
I have a friend, Heather, who's going to be coming on live with us here shortly. And unfortunately, Heather lost a friend in the shootings last night. So she's going to be coming on with us here in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to text you her email address, Stephanie, and you can bring her on with us.
Perfect. And anybody else that wants to come on, shoot me an email. Inbox us on Facebook on the Qualk Show page, and I'll bring you in.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about this. We want to share with the community. We want to be here with our brothers and sisters of the queer community and be your place to voice your fears, your anger, your sadness, your stories. And we're going to hear about at least one loved one here shortly.
It was a fairly small club too, wasn't it?
I can't speak on the queer community and their scene down in Orlando. I've never been there before.
I'm speaking square footage of the bar.
Oh.
It was a smaller club, wasn't it?
I honestly don't know that.
Okay.
I sent it to the Qualk Show for some reason, Steph. I couldn't. And you'll just have to bear with us because I am checking in with my phone here because it's just going off like nobody's business. I want to read a post to you guys today from Karen Tongston in Los Angeles, California, that really rings true, I think. And it's Orlando reminds us why even those of us utterly jaded by the corporatization of such things as gay pride stubbornly insist on celebrating anyway. Our dignity, our very survival, has always been contingent upon our ability to confront vitriol, violence, and horror with our radical desires for joy, pleasure, and ecstatic togetherness. On this Pride Sunday in Los Angeles, D.C., and other parts of the world, my queer rage, hope, and defiance go out to those brothers and sisters in Orlando who were murdered this morning for dancing and staying up too late, for being gay, for not giving a fuck, or what we've come to refer to simply as being proud. And I think that really kind of wraps it up for me, as far as I've had so many conversations with people, especially over the last few years, that call me out on why we need gay pride. Why isn't there straight pride? Why isn't there this? Why isn't there that? We've come so far. Why do you still have to put yourself out there? Why do you still have to talk about it? This is why, people. This is why we have the Qualk Show. Because as normal as you and I know that our families are, we're just the same as everybody else. There's still these people out there that want to harm us, that want to kill us, that just pushing our child down the street in a stroller as a two-mom family or a two-dad family could be enough to trigger certain people in our society still to this day. And if you think that's not true, you're living under a rock. And this incident in Orlando, Florida is here to tell you that we've come so far, but we have so far left to go.
Let me just say this really quickly because one of my Facebook friends, Casey Reed, just put up hashtag Orlando's why Brittany, her girlfriend, and I still have to play sisters in some places. Sad we can even be gay in a gay club, which is true. When you go to a gay club, and beyond the scope of what happened last night, it's turned into a situation where some people will say, we don't need the gay club. Some people will say, we need to patron it because so that this way we can continue the gay club atmosphere. And so you within the community always think you have your opinions about the gay club, but it definitely it's a source of love, it's a source of support, it's a source of community, it's a source of companionship. I bet if you survey the majority of the couples that you see within our community that you love so dearly, most of them met in a gay bar. I know I can speak on my wife and I, and there have been times when I've been in there and I've seen a straight couple and I'm like, oh, they're hunting for a third, so they're infiltrating our space. And you've seen it, right? You've been there. But it is sad when you can't even be gay in a gay club because that person went there specifically because they knew that Pulse was gay. They saw that rainbow flag. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that the one safe house that you can go to be yourself has been compromised. And let's go back to Stonewall. I made Hallie go there because when you're in New York City, how can you not? As a gay American, specifically. I say specifically a lot, and I realize that when I'm live and I don't have a script. You have to feel that culture. You have to know your history. You have to feel what it's like to be a part of that community, but you also have to be there for each other during trauma. And now in Orlando, they're experiencing their Stonewall Inn. And so as a national and international queer moms talk show, what do we do to educate the next generation? What do we say to our children when they will at some point read this in a book? What do you do when you have to not be yourself so many times throughout your day? What do you do to protect that one place where you could be yourself?
Yeah. Is Heather there, or is it just a frozen picture of her right now?
I see a frozen picture of her, but you know what? That's a cute picture, I gotta say, Heather. It's hard for me not to be a comedian.
We're waiting for you to come on. No, I
gotta hit your camera. There we
go. She is.
Hi,
Good
Heather.
morning, Heather.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, I wish
so
we
much for
were
joining us.
having you on for something a little bit happier this morning. How are you doing this morning? I know that you've been personally affected by the tragedy that's taken place in Orlando, Florida at the Pulse nightclub last night.
Yeah, I do live in Florida, and I actually live in Pensacola, so I'm actually 8 hours away from the effect. However, I lived in Tampa for 10 years, and full disclosure, we provided much income to, and in the process, we became friends with a lot of people. Also, being a sign language interpreter, we have a lot of conferences. The national conference a lot of times is held in Orlando. It's just kind of a central place in the state. So I'm in Orlando quite often, or I have been, and you just become friends with people in the community, not necessarily in the LGBT community specifically, but as an interpreter, and that is actually how, and a lot of people don't know that a lot of sign language interpreters are also a part of the LGBT community, and that is the channel in which I was able to find out someone that we knew was directly affected in this shootout, and in fact was one of the 9 that was transported to the hospital injured and basically passed away on arrival. And I don't
I think she's frozen up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a tough time for the internet to kind of go out.
Well, I'm sure the internet's just insane right now. I mean, you remember when we were just in Times Square just on a regular day, Now if she's in Florida, I'm sure it's, just cell service in general is going to be insane.
It's funny, too, because I think it creates, when you have a human connection to somebody who goes through this, it can't help but bring out your humanity. And when you think about the way in which, Whisper Down the Lane works, it becomes even more problematic because you want to make sure you get out the right story and make sure that you're supporting that family in the right way. So
Stephanie, can you send Sin an invite? She just called in, so if you just want to send her an invite, she'll be able to come on. Heather, I mean, you and I have kind of...
Heather's frozen.
She's still frozen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to bring her back in.
All right, sounds good. You know, and this just can hit home. The gay community is also such a small community. People think that it's huge because, because we've become a little bit more visible over the last couple of years, but it's still a relatively small community. So when things like this happen, it can directly affect so many people around us. Sin, I know that you're just tuning in and you're just finding out what's been going on. So, you know, just to bring you up to speed, there's a nightclub in Orlando, Florida called Pulse. And approximately 2 a.m. this morning, a lone gunman went into the club. And at this time, there are confirmed 50 dead. And the numbers will unfortunately probably keep growing because there were many that were rushed to hospital in critical condition and are still fighting for their lives right now. And we just